Approaching the race in Baku, Red Bull is at the top of their game, but this isn't to say that it's been nothing but smooth sailing for them. News about a mystery rival team contacting Red Bull sponsors in an attempt to defame them have surfaced, and team principal Christian Horner speaks out on it. That, and whispers about a new internal rivalry, this time with important people in the higher-ups. How will these issues affect Red Bull? Stick around to find out. Christian Horner has revealed more information about his previous statement that a rival team had reached out to Red Bull sponsors after the budget cap controversy in 2021. In October of that year, Red Bull was penalized by the FIA for violating cost cap regulations during Max Verstappen's championship-winning season. Despite calls from multiple rival teams to make an example out of Red Bull following their breach of cost cap regulations during Max Verstappen's championship-winning 2021 season, they were only fined around £5.6 million and had their wind tunnel testing time restricted for 12 months. Last month, Christian Horner caused some confusion by suggesting that an unnamed F1 team had contacted Red Bull's sponsors and attempted to lure them away during the controversy. However, he has since provided more information to clarify the situation. Horner told Sky Sports, "It wasn't about stealing sponsors. I think what you're referring to was a reference that several of our sponsors were contacted by one of our rival teams, saying that we were perhaps bringing them into disrepute. So that was, I think, the comment that you were referring to." And then asked which team has been plotting against them, he simply responded with, "I'll let your imagination run wild." Despite facing sanctions from the FIA, Red Bull has made an almost flawless beginning to the 2023 season by winning the first 3 races, giving them a comfortable 58-point lead over second placers Aston Martin in the current Drivers' Championship standings. However, Christian Horner has expressed concerns that their restricted wind tunnel testing time could have consequences later in the season, with their competitors able to make faster progress and reduce the gap between them in the upcoming months. He explained, "We have to remember that other upgrades are coming through with other teams. We have a significant disadvantage in the amount of wind tunnel time and our development capacity this year, and therefore, whilst we have a competitive car, it's important we get those points on the table as quickly as we can. Rather than full components, it's bits and pieces, and it's part of the evolution of the season. Each team will pick and choose where they want to bring these things in. That's what we've picked. I think they, Ferrari and Mercedes, are probably saving for something fairly more significant from what we hear. Of course, the cost of that is significant, therefore they're probably bundling up into one major package rather than drip feeding." Despite the dominant performance of the premier team, Red Bull Racing, there are reports of a rift between Red Bull advisor Helmut Marco and the successor of the late co-founder of the energy drink company Dietrich Mateschitz, who was a close friend of Marco. There are rumours indicating that Helmut Marco and the new Red Bull CEO Oliver Mintzlaff, who is 47 years old, are not on good terms, which may result in the 79-year-old Marco stepping down from his significant position. Marco gave a vague response to these rumours by stating that, "I can only say that I will be with Red Bull in Salzburg on Wednesday, and those topics are not on the agenda there." Despite being unconfirmed, the rumours persist, and some suggest that recently retired 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel could potentially take over Marco's position. "We are still in contact. Seb is currently still in the self-discovery phase, but I don't think he wants to travel to every race again and work harder for significantly less money." Marco also declined to dismiss the possibility of him ending his lengthy association with Red Bull. "As a multiple hotel owner, my advantage is my independence, but if, as is the case at the moment, I can be with the best driver in Max Verstappen, resigning is not an issue. With a different pilot pairing, my situation would definitely be different too." Lastly, he was questioned about the possibility of Red Bull's competitors putting up a more robust challenge against the reigning champions in Baku this weekend, to which he replied, "Mercedes will obviously come back with new updates, and Ferrari has had problems too. But what I don't understand is that Frederic Vasseur keeps seeing everything in a positive light." Christian Horner has had to face other challenges recently, one of which is the growing tension between his drivers that has been a topic of discussion since last season, However, he argues that Red Bull has always been a two-car F1 team, even going back to its earlier days, in response to comments made by Sergio Perez. Ahead of the Australian GP weekend, Perez admitted that while he is now more comfortable with the car, he feels that Red Bull still feels like a two-car effort. He did not feel the same way when he first joined Red Bull. Now in his third year with the team, Perez finally feels like he's part of the team, as the car is now to his liking. He even recalled a situation from last year when updates were introduced that favoured Max Verstappen's driving style over his own. In an interview with the media, he said, "I fully believe, and certainly when I came to the team, things were very different. Basically, they were just going racing with two cars because they had to. I can say now that I really feel part of the team. I really feel like I have my place, and I am well respected, and I think that's something good to have as a driver. I really believe that I have full support of the team as much as Max does, and that I will have every single opportunity to win the championship as much as Max. Certainly, I feel more comfortable in the car. I think we also learned quite a bit on which direction we took last year, not just the car itself, but also with how we set it up and how we tried to compensate for the weaknesses that it was giving me. We were just taking performance out of the car. Now we have got a very strong car, a very strong package, and a car that I feel comfortable with. It's a car that I'm working well with, and a car that I also believe, with the direction we take with the development, I can get the most out of it. I think that's important to be able to stay in the fight throughout the season, to have a car that you can be competitive, whatever condition you are in. Certainly, last year when we started developing the car, or basically when we put the car on a diet, basically that suited more Max, and the gap just widened up. I believe that, at the moment, we are asking for the same things. In these first races, we've been very, very close together on balance, and asking for a similar sort of balance. So in that regard, it's a good thing for now. Daniel Kvyat, former Red Bull driver who currently competes in the World Endurance Championship for Prima, recently shared his opinion on the competitiveness of drivers in Formula 1. In an interview on the Track Limits podcast, Kvyat expressed his belief that with the right car, the majority of drivers on the grid could potentially win races. When asked what gives a driver the edge in Formula 1, he gave this answer. The car, in many cases, because I think there are at least 12 to 15 guys who could be definitely race winners, maybe 10 world champions, and the car makes a big difference still. So it's true, and that's the way it is. But I think a lot of strong guys have strong personalities, and everyone is quite different. But everyone is able to be winning. Maybe except a couple of guys, but let's not go there. Do you agree with Kvyat's claim that anybody in F1 can win with the right car, or does the driver behind the wheel matter more than he thinks? Let's have a discussion about it down in the comments section, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.